Okay, are we live? Ladies and gents, welcome to Deviant Stories, episode 2. I know that says 4, but it's actually 2. Okay, so today we've actually got 2 stories to read for you. The first is Gren and the Dragon's Emerald by Psychosis is Real, and the second is A Mother's Love by Belladonna Bloodrose. So give me a second. The first person is Psychosis is Real. Jenny, female from the United Kingdom, 81 deviations, deviant for 2 months. Come and check them out. The next is Belladonna Bloodrose, Tabitha, female from the United States, deviant for 2 years, 165 deviations. Come and check them out. The links to their pages will be in the description. And if you're ready, I'm going to get started with Gren and the Dragon's Emerald. Here we go. Gren looked at his masterpiece, the finest creation he had brought into reality, the time machine. With this he would steal the most precious crystal known to man that had been smashed into pieces in some kind of accident, the Dragon's Emerald. He called his trusty aide Farlow and ordered him to turn the machine on. It came on with a high-pitched squeal that nearly deafened Gren. After a minute of fiddling, Farlow stopped the noise, and there was only the gentle thrum of energy from the 2 people-sized device. Farlow opened the door, and Gren strode in with him, close behind. The inside was rather bare. It was made of curved steel, and had only 3 buttons and 2 levers. As Gren was the only one to know how to control the machine, he pushed past Farlow, who had just closed the door. In a matter of seconds, the time machine started to make louder and louder pulsing sounds. So much power, and it was all his. The compartment lurched to and fro, side to side, up and down, and there was a moment of weightlessness, and then they were thrown to the floor. The pulsing went quieter, and the sensation of movement stopped. They both shook their heads, and smoothed out their waistcoat and straightened their ties. Farlow unlatched the door, and gently pushed it open. The scene they saw was exactly as they had planned it to be. They were in a storage room, which was where they had set off from in the future, only in the future it had been abandoned, and had become Gren's secret lab. Farlow looked around to make sure that no one was in the room with them, and then checked the door. It was unlocked, so he opened it and peeked outside into the corridor. When he had made sure it was clear, he motioned to Gren, who had busied himself with throwing a sheet over the time machine. It didn't quite cover the entire thing, but he decided it would do. He quickly but quietly followed Farlow, who had a knack for remembering layouts of places and had memorized the entire layout of the compound. After a short walk, they heard 2 people talking from behind a solid metal door. They were talking about the excuse me. They were talking about the precious crystal. Gren took out another of his inventions. He placed the flexible plastic sheet on the wall, and in doing this, he was able to see through the wall without being seen by the people inside. He could see 2 people, a man and a woman, and in the middle of them was the crystal. The plastic sheet shimmered, and then turned back to its normal black plastic. He tried shaking it, and furling it and unfurling it, but it still didn't work. They then heard 2 thuds, and then something smashed. Just as the sheet started working again, he put it against the wall, and again. He put it against the wall again. They saw the back door close. He put it against the wall again. They saw... I think there's something missing there. He put it against the back wall, and they saw the black door close, but they didn't see who had left the room. However, they did see 2 people unconscious on the floor, and smashed crystal. They were too late. They hurried back to the time machine as sirens started going off. They got back inside and sent it back to their time. As soon as they got back, Gren told Farlow to get the lifter so they could move the machine. He had a plan. If he moved it to the room adjacent to the one the person who had smashed the crystal was in, they could catch them and stop them, or even just take the crystal before they could smash it. Once the machine was moved, they got inside and sent it back in time. They snuck into the room behind the one with the crystal behind the one where the crystal was, and waited. They waited for a couple of minutes, but nothing seemed to happen. Then they heard two people walk into the room. Then Gren knew what to do. He would knock out these people and take the crystal. So he told Farlow to keep watch, and he took out a dual-barreled blowgun, which had adjustable tubes. He lined the two people up and shot them. Acting quickly, he ran in and tripped over a wire. He fell into the protective casing, and it flew open, sending the crystal flying into the air, and it smashed onto the ground. He was devastated. It had been him all along. He knew he had to get away, so he hurried back through the door and pushed Farlow into the corridor back into the adjacent room. He would always tell this story differently, saying there was a third person in the room he had failed to see, and this person had purposely smashed the crystal to keep it out of his evil hands. Interesting story. Hope you guys enjoyed that reading. That was Gren and the Dragon's Emerald by Psychosis is Real. Please do check them out. Now we're moving on. We have A Mother's Love by Belladonna Bloodrose. Can take a drink of water. Okay. A 14-year-old boy gently touched the picture of his mum. The boy's name was Steven Universe. His mother was a gem. His father a human. In order to bring Steven into the world, his mother, Rose Quartz, had to give up her physical form. Because of that, he'd never met her. His dad and all other gems spoke highly of her, that she cared about all living things and how wonderful she was. Greg would get this dreamy look on his face whenever he talked about her. But Steven wished that he really knew her, instead of hearing about her secondhand. To have known her touch, Steven rolled over and placed the picture next to his bed. Sniffing, he said, "I love you, Mum." Then he fell into a deep sleep. Steven dreamed he was in a cave. The walls were studded with gems that pulsed and glowed. They formed swirling patterns that were mesmerizing. Farther in, he heard singing. It sounded beautiful. Steven wanted to know who it was, so he walked further in. As he rounded a corner, he saw a woman sitting on a stone bench. She had buttercup yellow skin and golden hair interwoven with yellow rosebuds. "I know it seems so bleak, but you can have what you seek. Just look inside your heart, and you shall never be apart." The woman stopped singing and turned around. In the hollow of her throat was a golden yellow gemstone. Steven smiled at her. "Hi, my name's Steven. What's yours?" His eyes were bright with curiosity. The gem patted the bench, indicating that the boy should sit. "My name is Topaz. Tonight I thought I should come to you." Now Steven was confused. "I don't get it. This is a dream, right?" Topaz shook her head. "In a way, this is more like astral projection. Your spirit travels out of your body as you sleep." Steven nodded in understanding. "Oh, I've done this before. I've talked to Lapis Lazuli this way, back when she was fused with Jaspar. But why am I here now?" The gem waved a hand. In front of them was an image of Rose Quartz. "Thousands of years ago, I knew your mother." "Wow, you knew Mum?" "Indeed I did." Topaz smiled and ruffled his hair. "Before Homeworld set their sights on Earth, she and I were best friends. This was before she met Pearl, Amethyst, and Garnet. We were created on the same day. With her being a quartz and me a topaz, we were constantly pulled in different directions." Steven frowned. "What's that?" "Well, quartzes are warriors. My caste is that of an architect. We were not really supposed to associate with each other. However, between working on ships and training, we managed to see one another." Steven grinned. "Or, you two were besties." Topaz giggled, then sobered. "I was supposed to be on your planet with Rose, but Yellow Diamond wanted me to work on her new communications hub. A few months ago I heard about you, that Rose gave up her form to create you." She now had tears in her eyes. "Her gem is now yours. Do you know what that means?" Steven kicked his legs. "I have gem powers and..." He sniffed back tears. "And I can't see her." Topaz knelt on the floor and pulled Steven's face toward her. "That's the thing, Steven. You can see her." The boy was dumbfounded. "But how?" "Our minds and souls are in our gem, Steven. Rose's gem is yours. She's an integral part of you, but she's still separate too. Just sleeping." Steven touched the pink stone on his belly. "Sleeping? I don't understand. Topaz touched his gem. Inside your soul, Rose is there. Without her, you would not be you, but in a way, she's semi-aware. Stephen, if you can put yourself inside a deep meditative state, you can talk to her, actually speak with her. It requires utmost peace and calm. Your friends will be able to help you. Stephen jumped up. Stephen jumped down to wrap Topaz in a hug. Oh, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. The gem kissed his forehead. I have to go now. When you see your mum, tell her I said hello. Topaz slowly faded. Then Stephen woke up. When he opened his eyes, Pearl was standing above him with a concerned look on her face. Stephen, are you all right? You were mumbling in your sleep, saying something about Rose. He sat up straight. Oh my God, Pearl. I think I can talk to Mum. The gem now looked confused. I'm sorry, I lost my voice. Sweetie, Rose is... Stephen grabbed her hands and said in a rush, In my dream, I met a gem named Topaz. Only it wasn't really a dream. She told me that if I tried hard enough, I could talk to Mum, because she's a part of me. Pearl was dumbfounded. You spoke to... Topaz? He nodded. You know her? Pearl bit her bottom lip and then sat on the bed next to the young boy. Before I knew Rose Quartz, her best friend was a Topaz. She used to talk about her all the time. On Homeworld they were inseparable. She sighed. Truth be told, Rose missed her a great deal after we started to protect Earth. According to her, Topaz could create works of art from the simplest of things. The gem blinked and helped Stephen up. I think we should let the others know about this. Garnet and Amethyst sat on the couch as Stephen and Pearl explained what had transpired. Amethyst was stunned while Garnet remained impassive. The purple gem shot off the couch to wrap Stephen in a bear hug. A literal one, as she had transformed into a bear. Oh, this is great. You can talk to Rose and tell her everything. She turned back. Hey, Garnet, why aren't you excited? Because you should be so excited. The fusion shrugged. A long time ago, I saw this might happen. Everyone was floored. Pearl started to shout. You knew? And you never said anything? Garnet's expression stayed the same. I saw it might have been a possibility, and if I had told you, you would have pushed Stephen to do it before he was ready. Amethyst lightly punched Pearl. You're right, P. You tend to be pushy. The taller gem growled. That's not the point. The point is... Enough, Garnet shouted. In a softer voice she said, Stephen, would you like to see if you can communicate with your mother? Stephen, who had remained in the background as the gems argued, nodded. Then follow me. Garnet led the way to the outstretched hand of the temple where the washer and dryer were located. She and Stephen sat down. From their vantage point they could see out into the vastness of the ocean. Overhead, seagulls cawed as they hunted for food. The water glittered in the morning sun. Stephen inhaled, tasting the salty air he was so used to. Topaz said I had to meditate to talk to Mum. That's right, Stephen, Garnet said. Calm yourself, take deep breaths, and think of Rose. Think about what we've told you about her. Look inside yourself. The young hybrid was unsure how to do that last part. After all, how could his eyes look inside his body? He breathed deep, concentrating on pictures he'd seen of his mother. After a few minutes, he sighed, unhappily. Hey, Garnet, I don't think this is working. The gem fusion took his hands and pressed them to the gems on her own. This will take time, Stephen. Go at your own pace. I believe in you. She ruffled his hair. I'm going to calm Amethyst and Pearl down. Come back to the house whenever you're ready. She rose and walked back to the temple. Stephen sighed and turned to face the water. He closed his eyes and absently rubbed at the gem, his mother's gem. He imagined the sensation of her holding him, the sound of a voice as she sung him lullabies. At first, it was much like before, just the sound of the surf and the birds. Then in his mind he heard a faint whisper. Stephen, Stephen. He opened his eyes, or at least he thought he had. All around him were pink clouds and swirls of energy. It reminded him of his mother's room. Stephen felt a hand on his shoulder. He spun around and saw his mother. Hesitantly he reached out to touch her. Mum, is it really you? She nodded, with tears in her eyes. They embraced each other, both of them crying and laughing. Rose Quartz knelt on the ground and looked her son in the eye. With one soft pink finger she wiped away his tears. Oh, Stephen, look at you. So beautiful. She hugged him again. They both sat on the rosy ground. Mum. Stephen was unsure of what to say. He started with something that had been bothering him for a long time. Do you ever regret giving up your body? Rose took his face in her hands. Never. When I gave birth to you, it was one of the happiest moments in my whole life. Being a part of you as you grow up, it's wonderful. I could see the world through your eyes, Stephen. I experience your wonder and joy and growth. In a way, you give me the childhood no gem ever has. Stephen held his mother's hands. I wish I could, be with you like I am with Dad. Rose kissed his forehead. I know, but I am with you. Your joy is my joy. Every time you feel proud of yourself, that's me being proud of you. Stephen smiled. Really? Mm-hmm. Not a day goes by where I don't swell with love for you. You, Greg, Pearl, Garnet, Amethyst. I love you all. I don't ever regret giving you life. She picked him up and swung him around. Stephen whooped, savouring the feel of his mother's arms around him. Rose Quartz set him down and kneeled again. Her body was becoming hazy. Stephen panicked. Wait, don't go! Rose laid a translucent hand on his face. I'll never leave you, Stephen. I love you so much. Tell everyone else how much I love them too. Her son nodded, tears in his eyes. I love you too, Mum. Rose faded into a ball of light that sank into Stephen's gem. Next thing Stephen knew, he was back at the temple. He heard a squawk and saw a seagull sitting on the washer, looking at him curiously. Glancing down, he spied his gem glowing faintly. Stephen felt the wind caress his face, much like Rose had. The young boy grinned ear to ear, filled with warmth. He talked to his mum. Humming, he made his way back into the house. He had so many things to tell everyone. And that was the end of it, guys! Sorry about the coughing. I mean, it's supposed to be summer, but the weather has this cold periods and it's just affecting my lungs. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe because that's how our channel grows. And of course, that's how the Writer Gang grows. Thank you guys so much again for submitting your stories in. I hope to read more from you guys.